Now at 6 and streaming on CrossroadsToday.com, the hearing for the 4 former industrial ISD players accused of assault now reset. And the immigration-related battle heats up in Texas following Greg Abbott's new state law, how this impacts migrant communities this evening. Plus, a crime family facing charges in a skimming operation.
The cloud deck has begun to thicken up, and we start seeing a lot of moisture coming in from the southwest. It looks like it's going to be a rather sloppy weekend, as the rain should begin in about a day or so. We'll talk about your Christmas holiday weekend weather coming up in just a few minutes.
Plus, we catch up on some hoop scores from around the area. Stick around, I'll have that in sports.
You're watching 25 News Now at 6. Good evening and thank you for joining us. I'm Karina Garcia. Don Brubaker has the night off. The hearing for the 4 former industrial ISD baseball players now reset to March 7th. Colin Stumpfel, Zachary Kuckler, Christopher McRoy, and Braxton Warren all indicted on charges of organized criminal assault. They are accused of assaulting a younger player following a baseball game on April 27th. The hearing was originally set for today at 8 a.m., but again, it's been reset for March 7th. Now, protecting yourself and others against COVID-19 is still a priority. David Gonzalez, director of the Victoria County Health Department, says both the COVID-19 and flu viruses are an issue this season. Current vaccines can help prevent the viruses or ease up the suffering if you do catch COVID or the flu.
It's going to be a seasonal vaccine that's adapted to those variants that are going around right now. Same with flu vaccine. You know, you look over in the summer months, we see what's going on in the rest of the world, and manufacturers can kind of anticipate what's going to be next in the U.S. and in North America.
Gonzalez says getting vaccinated at least once a year is vital to reducing the likelihood of getting sick. And now let's take a look at your forecast with Chief Meteorologist Mac Fittis.
Well, thank you, Karina. Well, folks, the clouds are going to be thicker. We're going to start seeing light rain, but the main event is out there. That West Coast storm is going to be rolling across the southwest, making it a little drippy around here. We're looking for rain showers on and off for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. I don't think there's any way around it. At least it's not icy, and that's good. If you're going to be driving around the state, should have no problems with any kind of ice, because the temperatures are going to be in the mid-70s. We'll talk more about your weekend coming up in just a few minutes.
Mac, thank you. Former President Donald Trump is ramping up his controversial rhetoric on the campaign trail once again. Over the weekend, the GOP primary front runner said that migrants are, quote, poisoning the blood, unquote, of the United States. Here's more.
Poisoning the blood of our country. That's what they've done.
Former President Donald Trump on the campaign trail, making chilling comments about undocumented immigrants.
They poison mental institutions and prisons all over the world, not just in South America, not just the 3 or 4 countries that we think about, but all over the world. They're coming into our country from Africa, from Asia, all over the world. They're pouring into our country.
The former president is ramping up his anti-immigration rhetoric with the Iowa caucuses less than a month away. And polls in early voting states show that Trump still holds a commanding lead within his party.
He's not only ramping up the authoritarian and racist language and making it more explicit, there's a policy agenda behind it as well. I mean, he is running on a much more militant agenda than he ran on, certainly as president in 2020.
Trump, who is accused of trying to overturn the 2020 election, also quoted Russian President Vladimir Putin over the weekend about the, quote, rottenness of American democracy. Those comments also receiving major pushback, including from GOP presidential candidate Chris Christie, the most outspoken Trump critic in the Republican field.
My reaction is that he gets worse and worse by the day, and voters better start paying attention to exactly what he's saying.
Now, as the White House and Congress attempt to come to terms on border security issues, another immigrant-related battle is brewing in Texas. By putting pen to paper, Texas Governor Greg Abbott signs a new state law making it a crime to illegally enter the state. The measure, Senate Bill 4, gives local law officials the ability to arrest people who are suspected of being illegal. But just today, El Paso County sued the Texas DPS, and others are likely to follow. They say this new law takes control over immigration from the federal government and deprives immigrants of their rights under federal law. The complaint also asks the court to prevent enforcement of Senate Bill 4 before the law takes full effect March 5th. Now, some railway crossing bridges from Mexico into Texas have been shut down. U.S. Customs and Border Protection suspended operations on the bridges in Eagle Pass and El Paso Monday. The shutdown is in response to smuggling organizations using trains to move migrants through Mexico into the U.S. One state lawmaker estimates each day that the bridge is close to the U.S. is missing out on $1 billion. And so, as we mentioned, Abbott's new law gives local police the power to arrest migrants and allows state judges to issue orders to remove a migrant. This comes with a massive backlog in federal courts, with millions of migrants having to wait years just to see a judge.
Outside any American immigration court these days, you'll likely find long lines, people gathering in the middle of the night for court appearances that will determine if they stay in the United States or if they'll be deported.
They are lining up sometimes at 5 a.m. I've seen them lining up the night before as well.
Some of these migrants will end up in Mimi Sankoff's New York City courtroom. Judge Sankoff is the president of the National Association of Immigration Judges. She's served as a judge for 17 years and has never seen the system under this intense strain.
Some days I can see up to 100 different cases just in a morning. I've been a judge in Los Angeles, Colorado, and in New York City, and I've never seen the numbers that we're seeing right now.
Now, for the first time, tracking data shows the immigration court backlog has reached more than 3 million cases. In 2012, there were over 325,000 backlog cases. Across the country, there are just 71 immigration courts and 734 immigration judges that handle this caseload. The states with the largest numbers of pending cases are Florida, Texas, California, and New York. Last December, we met Jason Virguez, his wife Zulema, and their 2 children as they crossed the Rio Grande into El Paso, Texas.
Es duro. Es duro por lo que está pasando en mi país.
Did you think reaching this point was going to be so emotional?
No pensamos que fuera a ser así.
With tears in their eyes, they told me they never thought the journey from Venezuela would be so painful.
Gusto verte, Jason.
Muy bien, gracias a Dios.
The family is now in New York, navigating the immigration asylum process. Their journey captures the dilemma of the overwhelmed system.
It's been a year since we met you. You just had your first hearing in the court, correct?
Están ocupados o cuando te contestan dice que te van a devolver la llamada y bueno.
They say it's been very difficult to find an attorney. In fact, after a year, they still haven't been able to get an immigration attorney.
The same tracking data shows close to 100% of the migrants who have lawyers show up to the court hearings. The data is less clear for migrants who don't have lawyers. Jason and Zulema attended their first court hearing last week and have another date set for April of next year. The Biden administration has added more than 300 immigration judges to help handle the massive backlog of cases. But Judge Sankoff also says there aren't enough interpreters and law clerks to move cases along.
The focus has been on hiring more immigration judges, which makes sense. But you cannot hire your way out of this problem because even an immigration judge really can only handle maybe about 500 cases a year.
4 suspects believed to be connected to Romanian crime families charged in connection to a card skimming scheme targeting ATM users at stores in Houston. Authorities say the suspects crossed the border from Canada into Vermont and cut off their ankle monitors before placing credit card skimmers at several locations in Houston. Court documents say the crimes are related to high-profile Romanian crime families. 2 of the 4 suspects are currently in jail. So here is your viewer poll this evening. You can scan that QR code on your screen to vote now. The question is, have you been a victim of a card skimming scheme? Yes or no? According to our results, it looks like 18% stand at yes and 82% stand at no. We want to hear from you on this. Come to crossroadstoday.com/vote to take part, and I will have an update on 25 News Now at 10. Blue Origin, the Jeff Bezos founded space tourism company, launched an unmanned tourist rocket today from West Texas. The New Shepard took off with 33 science and research payloads and 38,000 postcards from the nonprofit club. The rocket touched down back to Earth about 7.5 minutes after launch. The launch marks the first successful launch after a botched mission last year that stalled the program. And now, in what has become a tradition, the H-E-B Feast of Sharing plans to feed families this holiday season. Today, crews were busy setting up tables and putting up decorations at the Victoria Community Center. The event takes place tomorrow from 4 p.m. to 8 p.m. Remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Crossroads Today. Hit the like button and click that notification bell. For now, stay with us. A former Proud Boys member receives a reduced sentence. Coming up on 25 News Now at 6, his apology to the nation. Also ahead, more than 131 million Americans expected to hit the skies this weekend.
Hi, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs with the Victoria Police Department. Victoria Crime Stoppers is seeking information about the murder of Rudy Lee Conde. On April 30th, 2007, 37-year-old Rudy Conde was found deceased in a home in the 1600 block of East Commercial Street. The investigation revealed that Conde died from blunt force trauma injuries. If you have any information about the murder of Rudy Lee Conde, please call Victoria Crime Stoppers at 361-572-4200. You can also submit a tip by using the P3 Tip app on your Android or Apple device, or by visiting our website at www.crimestoppersvictoria.com. All tips are anonymous, and if you give information that leads to an arrest or charges being filed, you could earn a cash reward. With the Victoria Police Department, I'm Detective Kelly Gibbs.
A former Proud Boy lieutenant in U.S. Marine sentenced Tuesday to 40 months in prison for conspiring with the far-right group to try to stop President Joe Biden from becoming president on January 6. 35-year-old Charles Donahue was the first of the Proud Boys leadership to enter a guilty plea and assist the government in its case. He pleaded guilty to 2 felony charges: conspiring to obstruct an official proceeding and assaulting an officer by throwing water bottles. Donahue told the judge he wanted to apologize to the entire country for his actions, as well as the law enforcement officers who were attacked during the Capitol riots. Now to the holiday travel rush, expected to be the busiest ever, with more than 100 million people flying to their holiday destinations. It comes after a powerful storm ended up early travel plans for thousands in Northeast, with the West Coast now bracing for 2 storms ahead of the Christmas season.
With more than 131 million Americans set to take off during the holiday travel rush, officials pleading with passengers to be patient.
We have already screened a record number of passengers across the nation this year, and this Christmas end-of-year holiday season is looking to be the busiest we've had in a very, very long time, if not the busiest ever.
From coast to coast, TSA says they'll screen close to 2.5 million passengers per day.
We will be fully staffed for the holiday. We have high confidence that we'll be able to handle this volume.
It comes as the pre-holiday travel crush got off to a rocky start after a powerful and deadly storm lashed the Northeast with heavy rain, flooding, and for parts of the Midwest, lake-effect snow.
I actually got delayed yesterday and missed my connection flight due to weather. It snowed in Cincinnati.
And while that storm has since moved out, another system is threatening holiday travel down the road. The West Coast bracing for a 1-2 punch of heavy rain. Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg says his department is working closely with airlines to prepare.
We get down-to-the-minute weather predictions from National Weather Service meteorologists and use those to inform exact arrival and departure routes across the busiest parts of the U.S. airspace.
And Expedia says today is the best day to fly. It's also the cheapest. The busiest travel day is this Thursday. Morgan Norwood, ABC News, New York.
A Florida 7th grader got a birthday present at school that he won't soon forget, and that came from his big brother. Eli's brother, Ethan, has been in Arizona for training since August and returned home earlier than expected for the holidays. Ethan surprised Eli on his birthday, and the two are very close.
It was a lot of emotions. It was like happiness, mostly happiness, just because I've went through so much, and this moment, it was a big moment in my life. We've been keeping this secret for a couple weeks now, and not talking about it was extremely tough.
Ethan says he's only home for 2 weeks, but he'll take any time he gets to spend with his little brother Eli.
That's a nice story. Hopefully, you'll have some sort of emotional gathering as we get into the weekend. Of course, it's the big holiday weekend. Problem is, I think it's going to be a little on the sloppy side. Right now, we're at 62, and it was a nice afternoon, got up to 72, but all of a sudden, the clouds got thicker and thicker. Now we're waiting for the rain to start developing probably tomorrow evening, and then into Thursday, and then the weekend. Well, maybe Santa can bring you an umbrella. That would be good. We'll talk more about your holiday forecast after this. Well, good evening, everyone. Our temperatures today, we were, I think, the warmest in the country, but, Florida is always right behind us. But anyway, we got up to 72 this afternoon, and pretty much everybody was in the 72 range. 69 out in Bay City is right about there. These temperatures are running mild, and you might have noticed that today the wind was out of the southeast and a little bit stronger. And that is what's bringing back the humidity. But the wind, has at this hour has begun to settle down a little bit. It's probably in the 20-mile-an-hour range. So we're getting cloud cover from two levels. First, the Gulf air is rolling this way. Then we've got the southwesterly jet bringing the cloud cover from the southwest. The main event, though, is still out on the west coast, and you can see this is another powerful storm. Now, last year, if you remember, they got 5 of these storms at hurricane force and slammed into the west coast. That's why they had so much snow. That's why they got so much rain. Well, this season is going to be like that again. And for those of you who are traveling other parts, remember the snowstorm that was in the east? Well, that's finally moved out. So things are clearing, but it's colder and they got some snow. On the west coast, this one's coming in, and it's going to be crossing this direction, very low, very south, down along the southwest, and then into Texas. So and you're going anywhere on the west coast, you're going to be looking at this one and then another one behind it. So let's take a look at what the rain is. So far, nothing in West Texas. You see right there, a little bit in Arizona. I'm not even sure that it's really hitting the ground, but of course the main event is already all Southern California, already in flood watches, and so this is going to be a big rainmaker for them. And once this one moves ashore, obviously it gets colder and it starts making the snow in the Sierra, and there's another one offshore as well. So let's take a look at Future Tracker and see what happens. High pressure that we had is moving away, so now the southeast wind is kicking in. We see the light rain band ahead of it right about there. So as soon as Thursday, we should see some sort of drizzliness or wetness falling from the sky with a strong south wind. That's Thursday. And then Friday, that one moves away for a little bit. But then the big one comes in, and that's the storm that comes in sometime on Monday. On Saturday, it's still out in West Texas, but we expect some shower activity on and off. And then on Sunday, the frontal system starts approaching, but it really doesn't get through here until about Monday. So Monday afternoon, we'll figure it out a little bit later on. Tuesday, it does get a little bit cooler, but not much. We will be in the 70s all the way through Christmas. So get, you know, the hot chocolate for Santa. I don't know, iced tea maybe or something like that to cool down. So let's take a look at our temperatures overnight, getting down into the 50s, 56 in the Crossroads, and the rest of the state is not particularly cold yet because cold air is still out on the west coast, and then getting up to 73. So we'll stay in the low 70s. You won't need much of a winter coat oh, and here's the funny part. Winter begins this week. If you're going fishing, it's going to be okay with temperatures in the 70s. Waters are still relatively smooth. So let's take a look at our forecast. We are looking at the low of 63 and a high of 71 tomorrow. In Cuero, a high of 73. And there is the first day of winter on Thursday with a showery chance all the way through Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and a little bit on Monday. That's your 7-day forecast, reminding everybody that we do have a QR code. Love for you to scan that. Put Crossroads Today on your phone. Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Mac. And up next is Zach Brown with your sports.
We've got NBA action and we've got Crossroads action out on the hardwood. I'll have that coming up in sports. The Houston Rockets hit the road to Cleveland to take on the Cavaliers. The Rockets trailing late in this one, but luckily for them, Alperen Sengun clutch with 36 seconds remaining nails the free throw to tie it up at 122 apiece. He had a shot to win the game at the horn, no good. So to overtime, we go with the Cleveland Cavs, would prove to be just a bit too much. They take down the Rockets 135 to 130. The Dallas Mavs took on the defending champion Denver Nuggets. They got absolutely pounded in a game where Nikola Jokic was held to just 8 points in 27 minutes played. Doncic did what he could, dropping 38 points to go along with 11 boards and 8 assists. James Harden back like he never left last night in Indiana. The Beard on absolute fire, gets fouled and drills the three. The 4-point play, his most electrifying of the night. He scored 21 points in the fourth quarter and 35 on the night. The Clippers have won 8 games in a row. Like I said, James Harden has returned. And speaking of return, Ja Morant is about to make his NBA debut within the next couple of days, and the Grizzlies certainly need him. They are tied for the second to last worst record in the Western Conference. The 25-game suspension was due to his social media antics flashing his weapons on live streams. Can the Grizzlies' season be salvaged? They are 7 games out of a play-in spot with about 57 games left to go. Now to some local scores, some teams in action last night, others will play later tonight. How about last night? The girls from Hallettsville took on the Fayetteville Lions. They were able to dominate that matchup, getting the 64-27 victory. The girls have now won 2 games in a row. They will have a matchup with Splendora on the 27th before they get Yoakum to kick off the remaining district schedule. Now for the boys, they did not have the same success against the Lions. They fell 75-42. It is a non-district game, but the boys have now lost 5 games in a row. They still have time to get it together. They begin the rest of their district games on January 2nd when they open up at Yoakum. The Bloomington Bobcat boys welcome the Columbia Roughnecks. They win by a score of 52-47. They're now 8-5 on the young season, have won 2 games in a row. They get Hebronville on the 21st as they look to make it 3 games won in a row. And the Edna Cowboys bounce back nicely following their loss yesterday to Aransas Pass. They took on Palacios today and got the 74-50 victory. This was a district matchup, so while Edna is 3-4 on the year, they are winning where it matters most. Palacios still searching for that first district win on the year. And today, the Victoria West girls open up district play tonight on the road in Corpus Christi against Ray. The East girls have a district game here against Gregory Portland. And congratulations to Cuero softball star Audrey Kremling, who announced on Twitter she will be committing to Sul Ross State University. That is it for your sports. Karina, back to you.
Thank you, Zach. We're going to be back in a moment. Now it's the question of the season. Do you have an artificial or real Christmas tree in your living room? What we have to say up next. Picking out a live Christmas tree is still a holiday tradition for some Americans, but in recent decades, real Christmas trees have become a lot less common. A survey from the American Christmas Tree Association says 77% of Americans who display a Christmas tree display an artificial one. The shift to fake trees has been steady since the mid-90s and spiked in 2021. But Oregon is the country's top producer of natural Christmas trees to this day. You think these are real behind us?
I was just about to touch it to find out, but I didn't want to look goofy on TV. But you go ahead and do that, Mac.
No.
No. Do you guys have a real one at home?
No.
I've never
I've got
had
a fake one in my closet. I still haven't put it up yet.
Well, you got
yeah, no, I got about a week left.
About a week left.
Not
yeah.
even.
Not even.
You better do it tonight.
I know.
You better hurry.
Yeah, like ASAP.
Because then Santa won't come to your house.
Oh, no.
Well, I don't think Santa's going to come to your house this year.
Why not?
Maybe for Norman.
My dog? My dog's name is Norman because of Norman, Oklahoma. Boomer Sooner.
Oh,
yes, sir.
Shout out his alumni, right?
Yeah, and of course I'm a Longhorn, so you know what I think about that. Anyway, folks, I wish I could tell you better, but it's gonna be a little sloppy as we get to the weekend. The clouds are getting thicker. Tomorrow it'll be cloudy. By Thursday we start picking up a little light rain. That's the first day of winter on Thursday, shortest day of the year, and but it's going to be in the 70s with rain showers sort of on and off right on through Saturday. The front doesn't get here till Monday, and that's when the rain ends Monday night for slightly cooler weather on Tuesday. But otherwise, have a great holiday.
That's right. Thank you for joining us. We hope to see you back here tonight for 25 News Now at 10.